So there's 4 types of abuse to be aware of. There's emotional abuse, physical abuse, neglect, or sexual abuse. And I'm just going to go over a few signs of them. They're listed on there on the presentation. But once again, it's not hard to find this stuff. You just need to do a quick Google search of signs of abuse if you want to confirm any suspicions you have, or because especially, we're all single subject candidates. The older the children are, the less likely they are to come forward to you. Little kids sometimes will tell you, but the older the children get, the more they start to understand that if they report, there will be consequences to those who they love, or the members of their family, or whoever is perpetrating the abuse. Committing the abuse. So they're less likely to report. So if you just need to confirm your suspicion. So emotional abuse, they're withdrawn, anxious, they have extremes in behavior. So either extremely angry, or extremely passive, or extremely aggressive. So extremes. So I know high school kids can be a little crazy sometimes, but this is something that would be out of the ordinary. If they're unattached to their parent or caregiver, that could be a sign of emotional abuse, or if there's adult-like or infantile behavior. So, you're acting like a junior parent, or you're taking care of your siblings in an extreme form. I think we're mostly high school and middle school, so yeah, there might be some babysitting going on, but if it's every single day, that type of situation. Or in the younger kids, are you cooking dinner at the age of 9 or something? So just those types of things. Or extremely infantile behavior. So in younger kids, it can be thumb sucking, or wetting your pants or whatever. Physical abuse, unexplained injuries, bruises, or cuts. Or if they are explained, the story doesn't make sense. There's, I fell down the stairs, or I tripped, or I'm just clumsy, something like that. Sometimes the students will twitch. I haven't seen this in the classroom yet, but I've interviewed a couple teachers that have said, a male teacher, if he raised his hand, the student would flinch, which is really sad, but it's something to be aware of. So if they're skittish, or they're flinching a lot, or they're kind of cowering, if there's an attempt to cover with clothing, so it's July, well, we don't have school in July, but it's May or it's June, and it's 90 degrees outside, but we're wearing long sleeve shirts, or we're wearing jackets or sweatpants or loose clothing or whatever. That's also, it's self-harm, but that's something to look for, for cutting in the older population. So long sleeves all the time, something like that. Are you trying to cover something up with your clothes? And then also looking for injury markings, specifically belts or hand marks, or maybe consistent bruises, for pinching maybe. Just those sorts of things. For neglect, if the clothing is dirty or ill-fitting, someone's wearing a jacket that looks like it hasn't been washed ever, maybe, or things are just dirty. In general, poor hygiene, so kids with body odor, and not just oh, I'm a stinky 14-year-old, palpable, body odor, this isn't normal for a 14-year-old odor. Extremely dirty hair, that child might not have access to hot water to take a shower. So dirty hair, matted hair, greasy hair, they smell, not to sound callous about it. Also, going back to clothing, if it's inappropriate for the weather, they just don't have, if it's winter and they wear shorts every day, or they look cold, or, if they're being neglected because the correct clothing isn't being provided for them, that can be an issue too. If the children are left alone or unsupervised frequently, that can be a sign of neglect. Mom and dad just aren't home, or they haven't made proper accommodations for childcare. Or if they're always late or missing from school. Now, I know there can be a lot of tardiness, but if it's something that is excessive, that is a form of neglect and abuse as well. You know, your parents aren't making sure that you're able to get to school and learn. Sexual abuse, difficulty walking or sitting, knowledge of sexual acts or seductive behavior. So let's say we have, and yeah, you know, you might have some sexually active high school students, but if there's an extreme knowledge, or it's something that's talked about all the time, specifically, like if they keep going back to that topic, in younger kids, if they seem to know things that they should not know, it's inappropriate for their age. And then also if there's STDs or pregnancy present in children under the age of 14. Also, a sign of sexual abuse is just not wanting to be home or running away all the time. So those are a couple of the types and signs of abuse. There's, like you said, a million resources online. If you're not sure or you have suspicions, like just take the time to do a Google search and double check. This stuff isn't easy to find. Is easy to find, and I think that's a good thing, so we can have whatever resources we need.